Hello and welcome to Mind, Mood and Food podcast with me, Margaret Bell, anti-diet powered coach and gut health expert, and my partner in crime, Adele Derbyshire.
Hello, I am a yoga teacher and creator of Find Your Inner Sparkle, which is a toolbox, 50 ways to help you to look and feel better from the inside out. And today on the podcast, we are talking all about food cravings. Definitely an interesting topic. And I'll hand over to the lovely Margaret to introduce us to this one.
Yeah, I specifically wanted to talk about this today because I know a lot of us can have cravings for certain things, and I'm only just going to touch the very top level of some of them. Basically because let's face it, when do we not have a craving for something along the way? Quite a lot of us have cravings for sugary foods.
Chocolate!
Quite a lot of us have cravings for salty food, crisps. And, you know, what are these cravings all about? Why do they happen?
Why don't we crave?
Why don't we crave broccoli?
Why don't we crave? Why don't we crave lettuce?
Oh God, can you imagine?
It's so unfair.
I know. I will say that when I do get, I must be the weirdest person then. When I do get my organic veg box delivered and there's mushrooms in there, it's like, oh, mushrooms. I love raw mushrooms.
Raw mushrooms?
Yep.
Margaret, this is the biggest controversy since we talked about eating a whole kiwi with the skin on.
I know.
Wait, rewind. I didn't even know you could eat raw mushrooms.
You can do. Obviously, just give them a little bit of a rub, but yeah.
Get all the dirt off.
This is another podcast, but not necessarily every single thing, because a bit of dirt is good for your gut health. But
yeah, they do say the kids that play in the dirt and eat the worms are the healthiest.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I do crave.
Really?
Mushrooms. Yeah.
I might try a cheeky slice next time I'm slicing them up. I'll be like, no, Margaret. That is weird.
Yeah, I did say, yeah, I do have some weird kind of, not exactly cravings, but
I would love to know from people in the comments who else eats raw mushrooms. Is there anyone out there?
Am I the only one?
I think you are the only one. That needs to go out as the tagline for this podcast. Do you eat raw mushrooms, or is it just Margaret?
Yeah, is it just me? Am I the freak?
But
when we think about food cravings, let's say 9 times out of 10, it's something that is not necessarily that something that we shouldn't have, but something that might need to be in a bit more moderation than other things. So it is like the sweets, the chocolates, the crisps, the bread.
I saw how you looked at me when you said that. You can't see this on the audio version, but Margaret raised her eyebrows at me.
The bread. And it is just, what is going on with that when we do crave them? So I'm just going to run through a few things today, and obviously come in at any time, Adele, but a lot of the times the cravings that we have is specifically because we're really not eating in the right way. And when I say that, I mean how we're actually, not necessarily what we're eating, but how we're actually eating it. Because if we're eating at such a pace that the food basically gets down to our gut and it's undigested, then it's not going to get anywhere near our gut, really. Unfortunately, it's going to turn into fat around our middle.
Yeah, and this is something that I don't know if we've talked about this before, but I definitely have got better But like, you know, people that eat fast, I'm like one of those that, because I really like food, I think, and there's that thing that I just want it to be in my tummy.
Mm.
Because we used to always have like seconds. We stopped this as well. We did this for years, but I would literally, if it's a nice meal, but I know that there's a big pan full, say, I don't know, say it's spag bol or something, and I know there's a lots more in the pan. I'll eat the first lot really fast because I know that I can go and get some more.
Yeah.
So that's ridiculous, isn't it? And then when we stop doing that and go, do you know what? We could save that. It's another meal. We
Yeah.
don't need it. You're eating 2 dinners every night. I actually slowed down because I knew that that was it. You know, it's like, you know, you're only having 2 squares of chocolate, not the whole bar. You actually eat it in a much more mindful, slow way, which then means you chew it more, which then means it gets, the digestive process starts in the mouth, right? It starts when you start slavering,
Saliva.
salivating.
Salivating. That one, yeah. But yeah, it's, if we're eating at such a fast pace, then our body can't get those nutrients. So what's our body going to do to kind of alert us that, hang on, I haven't got the nutrients that I need. It's going to bring on cravings. It's going to bring on hunger, because it hasn't got the things that it needs. So really start slowing down when you eat, because when you do, your body relaxes, it goes into rest and digest, and obviously you can digest that food. Therefore, the nutrients in the food are going to get to where they need to be.
Yeah.
And you're not having that kind of thing an hour later thinking that you're hungry when you're really
that's
not.
brilliant, because that's something that I tend to sometimes think, oh, you know, you have this thing about being a greedy person because you're like, I like food, I've eaten, but now I want seconds, or I've eaten, but an hour later I'm hungry. And that would probably answer it for me, that I just need to slow down and really enjoy the food that you're eating, because then, you know, you're not going to get that shortly after eating, that feeling that you're still hungry.
Yeah, exactly. And I think as well, quite a lot of people, when they do crave salt, for instance, really check how much water you're drinking.
Yeah.
Because you're more than likely dehydrated, and our bodies are very clever. When you're dehydrated, your salt level changes. So if your salt levels are changing, then your body is going to be craving salt. But that's our body telling us, hey, you could be dehydrated here. Have a look at, you know, when did you last have a drink of water? Have a look at your weight. Is it like anything but a light golden colour? If it is, flipping out, get some water drink.
And that would create a vicious cycle, wouldn't it? You know, if you're craving things like nuts, peanuts, salted nuts, salty crisp, and you're already dehydrated.
Yeah, you're going to get even more dehydrated. So yeah, it is just you know, our bodies are very clever, but it's just listening to the signals, because the signals they give us seem to be quite simple, but you might just need to look into them a little bit more.
I think the fast fixes, you know, when you do crave, the body wants it just fast and instant, doesn't it? So if you're craving salt, it just craving something like crisp, you know, you can grab them and just, that you don't have to cook them, you don't have to wait. Bread's readily available just to kind of eat quickly. And fats like chocolate and stuff like that is, again, it's quick and it's satisfying because of that texture. But really, if you think about what you're craving, if you did swap it for something else that was a better fat, or, you know, if you're craving something salty, you know, I eat some olives or something different, a bit of feta cheese even, or something like that, would that be better than obviously going for the quick fixes?
Absolutely. For a start, the likes of olives, especially in brine, are extremely good for your gut. So yeah, absolutely. And when it comes to that
You don't eat
kind
as
of,
many of them either, do you?
no,
If I was
no,
craving
because they
like
are,
something salty
yeah,
and I've got s'mores in the fridge, and then I go and eat a few olives, I don't know, 4 or 5 or something like that, you're
that
probably
normally
all right.
that normally
Whereas if
gets
there's
it,
a
doesn't
bag
it?
of crisp, you're going to be eating all that,
Mhm.
you're getting that fat as well, which is not the right kind of fats.
Yeah, exactly. And when it comes to the likes of us craving sugar, guess what? It's more than likely we've got an energy dip more than anything
Mm,
else. So again, it's looking at what is causing that energy dip. Is it something we've eaten anyway because it's been that high in sugar that we're now on a sugar crash?
again, the vicious cycle, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think we said we'd do a separate one on sugar if we've not done that already. It's probably its own podcast, but there's a lot of people that do drink the fizzy drinks, isn't there? And even if
Yeah.
they've not got the sugars, because people think, oh, it's Coke Zero or Pepsi Max or whatever it is,
Yeah. Mm.
then then they're full of the sweeteners and things like that. So just having a look at everything, not just the sugary food. It might not be that you're eating crisp donuts and cakes and stuff like that, but have a look at what you're drinking as well,
Yeah. Yeah.
and whether there's sugar in that. Having sugar in your tea. I used to have sugar in my tea years ago, but started to just cut it down, gave it up,
Mhm.
and then it eventually it tastes weird to have it because you're not used to it.
Yeah. And I think that's a misconception quite a lot of people have when they go for the diet stuff or the other non-sugar stuff when it's got sweetener in. Your brain can't sometimes tell the
Mm,
difference. And it's still going to crave that sugar kick in a way. And unfortunately, people, the likes of your saccharin or whatever other sweet artificial sweetener it is really not happy in your gut.
mm.
So, and quite a lot of the time, if you do go for that kind of thing, you actually do crave the sugar more.
Because your body thinks it's getting it.
It's getting something
Is
and
it
it's
like
not.
when you have chewing gum and then you get hungry?
Mhm.
Because your
Yeah,
body's chewing and you're like expecting that hit of
exactly.
food and then it doesn't
Yeah,
land and it's like
yeah,
makes you more and more
yeah,
hungry, doesn't it? So
yeah. Because
yeah,
your saliva's going, your
you're drinking
enzymes are
something
going.
sweet, so your body's
Yeah,
like, oh, I'm gonna get the sugar, I'm gonna get the sugar, and then it's like, where's the
hang on.
sugar?
What's going on?
That's it. So if you are gonna have sugar, you may as well
Mm,
have the real thing and just
mm,
have a bit less of it, like we've talked about
absolutely.
with the fats.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
you know, I've done that where I'll have you think, oh, I'm not having full fat Coke, it's got loads of sugar in it.
Mm,
And then you have the one with the sweeteners in.
yeah.
But I don't have it very often.
Mm,
Don't it's not like a drink that I drink at home. It's just maybe if you go out or something like that and you're not do you know when you go out and you're not having alcohol? It's very
mhm.
difficult, isn't it? If you go out and you're driving or something, you think, what am I gonna get to drink? You don't go up to the bar and get a glass of water, do you?
Yeah. Oh, crikey. Yeah. There are some bars waking up these days, but there's
Yeah,
a heck
that's
of a
it.
lot that aren't.
Just occurred to me because I would always think something like a Sprite or a Diet Coke because you'd be like, what do you
Mm,
have?
yeah.
And yeah, if you don't want something like that, that the bars would be good really if they created, something that was a bit more
Absolutely.
healthy and that you
Yeah.
could drink in place of those drinks.
Absolutely. And I'm going to say that, sorry, gentlemen, if you are listening, but this is the one for the ladies, especially around your menstrual cycle.
Mm,
How many of us have noticed we crave chocolate at certain times?
yeah. And you go, it's all right. It's because it's that time. Not only chocolate, but I've told you this year I've been tracking my cycle a lot
Mhm.
more closely to understand mood and things like that.
Yeah.
But I just find I'm much more hungry in general the
Mhm.
week before.
Yeah. That's literally because our bodies are getting ready for that release.
Mm,
Things are moving in the body, shall we say. And obviously, if things are moving in the body, it's going to create extra energy. It's
mm,
going to need that extra energy to
yeah,
get things moving. So it kind of makes sense that you're going to be more hungry
yeah. It's like
because
a
extra
real
energy is being
hunger
used
that I'm
up.
like, just need
Yeah.
to eat. I'm just
Mhm.
can't, you know.
Yeah. And the chocolate one, believe it or not, is more than likely because you're actually low in magnesium.
Wow. Yeah, I would
So
never even know that there's magnesium. So is the magnesium in chocolate then?
there is some magnesium in chocolate. It's more prevalent in your dark, higher cocoa chocolate. Yeah, in actual, the cocoa itself is quite high in magnesium.
So just before we finish on this one then, what would be better eating? So give us an idea of foods that have got magnesium in that are better eating rather than chocolate. So when we're
Yeah.
craving chocolate, we're gonna have to eat instead. Don't tell me it's raw mushrooms, Margaret.
Spinach is a good one.
Spinach.
But you know what? If you are the likes of the high content chocolate does have,
Yeah.
a better source of magnesium in.
Yeah.
If you can get cacao, even better.
Well, do you know what? Because you were just talking about that earlier about the cacao ceremony that you went to, and I did one online actually where we made it in the like pan and everything, and we did this little like prayer over it and stuff. Proper good quality cacao. So I'm gonna get some of that and order it in. Do myself a little cacao ceremony because it is lovely.
It is absolutely gorgeous, and it's a really good source of magnesium, definitely.
Yeah. So that's going to feel like a real treat to do, like on that week, like just to give your body that what it needs in such a beautiful way, and to get that real good quality cacao. We've got to be mindful where you get it from and all that sort of stuff, and just make sure you're getting a good quality one in. And to make a little ceremony out of it, how nice is that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Nurturing ourselves instead of how many people are going to be like grumpy anyway because you're on that week before. You then just feel like, oh, I'm going to eat a full bar of chocolate, like rubbish quality dairy light coloured chocolate with lots of sugar in it, no nutrients hardly in it. Then you're going to feel guilty for eating it.
Yep.
And how nice would it be instead to say, I'm going to get this in ready for the next time, which I'm going to do. And then you're going to make yourself this little beautiful ceremony where you can have a little drink every day for a few days, and just nurture yourself and celebrate, being that woman that has those cravings because your body is desiring something that it needs, giving that to your body and celebrating and feeling like wonderful about doing that.
Exactly. It's all about
gorgeous.
It's all about really tuning in and saying, okay, this is what I'm craving. What is actually going on?
Yeah. And I love guilt-free eating and drinking. So anything I can do for that is a bonus, is onto a win. Any last points on the food cravings, Margaret?
Oh, I could go on for absolutely hours, but I'm going to leave it there for now.
Yeah, well, I think we've covered the main ones with the salt, the sugar, the fats. But if anyone's got any further questions or comments around cravings, that there may be some weird and wonderful ones out there, like when people are pregnant and they crave coal and stuff like that. So let us know if you've got any weird and wonderful cravings that we've not covered today, and we'll be more than happy to talk about that on a future podcast.
Absolutely, definitely, because there will be a reason. There is definitely a reason behind craving the likes of coal.
Yeah, I know. And it is surprising, isn't it? Let's leave that as a cliffhanger. So do join us again in a fortnight's time for the next Mind, Mood and Food podcast. Thank you so much for joining us today. I hope that you've enjoyed this episode as much as I have. I've learned loads.
And absolutely join us on the next time. Subscribe where you can. And if you've got any questions, any comments, we'd love to hear them. And we'll see you
definitely
next
subscribe. Hit the like button, because that is one of the best ways to support our podcast and help other people to find us. Thank you so much, Margaret, and everyone for listening, and we'll see you all again soon. Bye for now.
Bye.